No one can truly become Miyamoto Musashi, not because he was unbeatable, not because he was born special, but because he chose a path that slowly destroys everything you think you are. A path where victory begins to feel empty, where strength turns into a question instead of an answer, and where the deeper you go, the less certain you become about why you started it all. Most people want to be strong, but very few are willing to face what strength actually costs. Before the name Musashi existed, there was only Takezo, a boy rejected by society, feared, misunderstood, and completely alone. He wasn't taught kindness. He wasn't guided toward purpose. Instead, he grew up like something wild, violent when threatened, silent when judged, and always ready to fight. To him, the world was simple. Either you dominate, or you get crushed. So when war came, he didn't hesitate. On the battlefield of Sekigahara, he didn't fight with honor or discipline. He fought with instinct. Every swing of his sword was driven by survival. Every step forward was fueled by the fear of dying. And in the end, he survived. But survival is not the same as living. And deep down, that emptiness had already begun. After the war, Takezo was captured. Not treated like a human, but like a dangerous animal. Tied up, hung from a tree, left to face himself. And in that moment, stripped of freedom, stripped of pride, he was forced to confront something unfamiliar. Silence. A monk looked at him, not with fear, but with understanding. And he gave him a new name, Musashi. A chance to start again. A chance to become something more than just a survivor. But changing your name doesn't erase who you are. Inside him, the same fire still burned. The same obsession remained, to become the strongest. Because he believed that if he could reach the top, then everything, his pain, his past, his existence, would finally make sense. So Musashi began to walk the path of the sword. He challenged opponents. He fought relentlessly. And one by one, they fell. Skilled swordsmen, respected warriors, entire schools that had built their reputation for years, all defeated by one man. There was a moment when he stood alone against many, surrounded, outnumbered, and yet, he survived. This was supposed to be his proof. Proof that he had become strong. Proof that he had surpassed everyone else. But instead of fulfillment, there was only silence. Because every victory left something behind. Not trophies, not pride, but memories. Faces of people who once stood before him. People who had their own dreams, their own lives, and were erased in an instant. And slowly, a question began to grow inside him. If strength means taking everything from others, then what exactly am I becoming? And then, he encountered something unexpected. Sasaki Kojiro, a man completely different from him. Kojiro didn't fight to prove anything. He didn't carry doubt. He didn't question himself. He moved, like it was natural. Like the sword was not a weapon, but simply an extension of who he was. While Musashi struggled, pushed himself, and chased strength endlessly, Kojiro simply existed within it, effortless, free, complete. And for the first time, Musashi saw a possibility he had never considered. That true strength might not come from struggle, but from harmony. And that realization shook him far more than any opponent ever could. After everything he had achieved, Musashi stopped. Not because he lost, but because he no longer understood why he was winning. The path he devoted his life to no longer made sense. So he stepped away, not into another duel, not into another challenge, but into something much quieter. Fields, soil, time, a life where nothing needed to be proven, where no one cared how strong he was, And in that stillness, he began to see something clearly for the first time. Living among ordinary people, Musashi learned a different kind of strength. Not the strength to destroy, but the strength to create, to grow food, to wait, to endure, to exist without constantly testing yourself against others. And slowly, his perspective changed. He realized that strength isn't about standing above others. It's about understanding your place within the world, not forcing it, not dominating it, but moving with it. And for the first time, he wasn't chasing strength anymore. He was beginning to understand it. When Musashi returned to the sword, he was no longer the same man. There was no anger in his strikes, no desperation in his movement, only clarity, only presence, only a quiet understanding that didn't need validation. And that is why no one can truly become Musashi, because his journey was never about becoming the strongest. It was about facing himself, breaking himself, and rebuilding something deeper, something most people would never have the patience to pursue. True strength is not something you prove, it's something you realize once you no longer need to prove anything at all.